to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm here with Ben Davison in Sheffield ahead of a big night on tomorrow night. But first and foremost, I've got to say congratulations on the birth of your daughter, man. I mean, those sleepless nights, it's like a little respite for you having a little long lie in the morning, is it?
Oh, for sure. I remember training camps with Tyson. Whenever we'd go away, he'd wake up and say, "It's the best night's sleep I've had in years." And I used to think, I don't know what he's going on about, but now I know what he means.
Now you know, yeah. Now you know. It's a different kind of love, innit? It's an amazing feeling. Like my daughter was born in February there, so it's absolutely unreal. But we're in Sheffield. You've got Shabaz Masoud. He's got a very, very tough fight against Jack Bateson. And like I said to you a little bit off camera there, that if you're a pure boxing fan, if you're a purist and you love the art form of boxing, these two young lads have the skill set to make a great fight. I think their styles are going to gel tomorrow night, and it's a great fight. And credit to the young men for putting their all on the line so early. It's not for a British title, it's a final eliminator. They didn't need to do this, but they did, so credit to both fighters first and foremost.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. They're both dedicated athletes. I think that both guys are just absolutely desperate for an opportunity to showcase their skills, and this is the opportunity that's popped up for both of them. So I think they've both took it with both hands.
Obviously, Shabaz is your man, but with that being said, what is the deciding factor in this fight for you?
I just think Shabaz is a lot more layered. Obviously, I don't want to go into too many details, but I think Shabaz is going to shock a lot of people tomorrow.
Obviously,
in the sense of winning, but I think in the fashion and how he goes about the job.
Go back to yesterday as well. I mean, there was so much respect between fighters, and then yesterday it just seemed to, even at the press conference there was respect there, but then that head-to-head, something just popped off. You might have been in the earshot. I spoke to both fighters. They've gave two different versions of what was said and what was done, but were you in the earshot, and what was the catalyst to that?
I just think that both, like I said, both lads are dedicated athletes. A big opportunity for both of them. It's billed as a 50-50 fight. I think that both guys, it's the first time they're in, for both guys, a real 50-50 fight, and I think that neither guy really wants to, probably in their mind they're thinking, I don't want to lose an edge, I want to, win the battle of the press conference and win the battle of this and win the battle of that. But obviously as you experience that more and more and more, less, you just get a little bit more composed in moments like that, and your focus isn't so much on those type of winning those type of battles. But I think that's all it is. There is respect. Of course, there's respect, and it's a competitive nature, and they're getting in there to fight tomorrow. So, of course, there's going to be a little bit of that back and forth. But after the bell, it'll all be respect.
It's hard to, when you interview a fighter, it's hard for you to ask the question of what's next. But as a coach, manager, I can ask you, because no doubt you have a plan in your head where you want Shabaz to go. Now, final eliminator for the British title, Liam Davis has that title. Liam Davis looks like he's going to be fighting for the European, I think, in a couple of weeks' time. Baluti, yeah, which is a tough fight, believe it or not, because we all know how dangerous.
Down to Jim sparring a lot. He's a
very, very good fighter and dangerous fighter. So let's say Liam does get through Baluti, man. It's not just the British title that Shabaz, it looks like it's going to be the European as well, if all going well for Liam on that night. So that's going to be a sort of like a double win there for him if he does get a shot at both titles and stuff like that. And that European level normally propels you to a world level. Is Shabaz ready for that?
Yeah, I think that the time frame, Shabaz hadn't boxed for a little while. I think it was March was his last fight. Good stoppage there. I think that the progress that he's made since that fight in March has been huge, and I think that has took him from what I believe where he was to be British level around that sort of level at that time to what I believe to now is at fringe world level, and I believe that this is an opportunity for him to show that tomorrow.
Shabaz told me yesterday, he's like, I'll fight anybody, just give me the name, I'll fight him. But lucky I've got Ben there, sort of like calm me down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing there, but when you look at that super bantamweight division at world level, when you've got Stevie Fulton, Louis Neary and Akhmadaliev, I think he's there and thereabouts, and Anui might be popping his head in that division very, very shortly. I mean, it's a tough division for Shabaz to become that world champion and fulfil his dream, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Shabaz is on fringe world level. I think in moments his skill set is elite. In moments, I think that to be at that level, you have to consistently and constantly be producing that level of work. And I think that for him to be able to do that, the next steps are the right type of fights at the right time to develop certain areas of his game that we want to work on and we want to improve, and for him to gain experience. He's only had 10 fights, but he's more than capable of doing so. I'm saying all of this, of obviously not looking past Jack. The focus is purely on Jack, but obviously it's my job to know what areas and where Shabaz's development needs to be.
You've got a busy stable, you've got a big stable, you've got Pat McCormack, you've got Lee Wood there, there's other fighters in that gym, so it's a busy time for you. It looks like all going well for you. 2023 is going to be a busy year for you, but a quick word on Pat McCormack and Lee Wood and the rest of the boys in the gym.
Yeah, Pat McCormack, Mark Dickinson, they're both boxing November 26th on the Matchroom Dillian White card. Lee Wood, we're still waiting to hear from the WBA. Lee McGregor has had a few things personally going on in his life that he wants to get right and put right, and we're in the process of that. Luke McCormack got some paperwork issues there that we're sorting out, but hopefully that should be sorted out by the end of the year. Chris Congo looks like he should soon get a European title shot. I think he'll be boxing before the end of the year. Billy Joe Saunders obviously training in the gym and he's just ticking over. Whether
he's in Sheffield, right? Is he? I see that.
Yeah, he's come. He wants to watch Shabaz. He's a big fan of Shabaz. He's just ticking over, seeing, falling back in love with the sport, seeing what he wants to do.
Like I said, it's a big stable. You're probably looking for which fighters have I got? So it's a big stable.
Yeah, Will Cooley. Hopefully we'll get him out before the end of the year again as well. So yeah, I'm just making sure I haven't really missed anyone out. I know Jamie Chikiva, he's boxing, I think it's Sunday the 27th, the day after Pat and Mark. Sorry about that, these keep jumping in. Yeah, also we've got Royston Barney Smith, he's boxing on the Tyson Fury card. Frank Warren's doing a fantastic job with him over on BT Sport. Had a prime slot last time. With a fantastic knockout, making a bit of a statement. So yeah, busy. Sorry, 1 second. Some of them lads are more so training with Barry, but yeah, that's pretty much the gym.
Like I said to you, it's a big stable. I think I seen some content you put up, and it was like a circuit training. It looked rammed. Whatever it was, there was people on the assault bike here, there, and everywhere. I was like, how do you keep up with it all?
Yeah, no, it's good. They all have their own time slots. So, but then sometimes I will partner them together if I want someone to work on something specifically, and his style will help him work on that or develop that. So, yeah, they all work with each other, and that's brilliant. For example, today I've had Mark doing some drills with Pat because certain things Mark can replicate that I want Pat to work on. So, and that's what I really love about the culture and the atmosphere and the environment of the gym is that obviously they all want to be the best that they can be, but they're more than happy to also accommodate and do a little bit extra to help their teammate out, to do extra reps, extra time spent in the gym, to help bring each other on. And whenever someone's got a fight coming up, they're more than happy to replicate something in sparring that I want, to assist in live scenario drills that I want them to do. So it's a fantastic environment.
Looking at 2023, if you're going off with what I've heard from Ben Shalom today and Paul Smith and what I've heard from the WBC convention, what I saw from the WBC convention, 2023 is looking possibly it's the year of the big fights. And I'm going to rattle off some big fights to you and get your opinion on it, Ben. Paul Smith, and I spoke to him today, he sort of had an incline at this fight, and Ben Shalom, seen an interview with Raza, he said the fight is done, it will be in 2023. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Smith. It's a fight, as a selfish boxing fan that I am, I'm looking forward to that fight. I can see knockdowns, I can see cuts, whatever in that fight, I can see it all. Your thoughts on that fight itself?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Eubank is I don't really know how we would approach these fights, and the talk of the Conor Benn fight, the talk of this Liam Smith fight. I think that will obviously have an impact. You know, he's a lot of volume previously, and when I look at that style matchup with the Eubank that is so heavily reliant on volume, Liam is a very underrated fighter, a very efficient fighter. And if you are someone, he will love someone to be working at that pace and for him to consistently apply pressure. When he boxed Canelo, there was huge chunks of the fight where he was backing up Canelo. That's a brilliant fight, fantastic fight. But then obviously when we saw Eubank box against Liam Williams, he was a lot more, used his lead hand a lot more.
Jab, and I'm not saying the jab was there a lot more,
I wouldn't say Eubank was just a pure, I'm going to come forward, consistent, steady pressure type fight, because there was moments even before when he used volume that he would back up and initiate engagement by going on the counter, follow up by going first, and the volume would ramp up. But brilliant fight. So, but for me to, I don't know how. I haven't looked at it enough to say I think this person will win or that person will win.
All right, you'll probably give me a win on this one. Then the WBC have ordered Andrew Ruiz against Deontay Wilder for the winner to get a crack at Tyson Fury. Again, if you're looking at this as a selfish point of view, you're always wanting Andy Ruiz to get the win because a fourth fight against Wilder. Does anyone want to see that? Maybe they do because the last two fights were good fights, but Andy Ruiz brings something different to the table. So looking at that fight itself, again, the shorter man and Andy Ruiz against the big right hand of Wilder, how do you see it?
Really hard to say with Deontay Wilder. I'm obviously a big fan of Deontay Wilder. I just don't know how the effects of those fights, on him mentally. I personally thought, obviously it was over in the first round, but in that Helenius fight I felt like he looked uncomfortable. I think that one of his biggest problems is when people say that he can't box going backwards is the breaking the base while he's being pushed back. I feel like that has slowly gotten worse and worse and worse, and now he's actually in a position where he's deciding to break his base by going on the back foot. It wasn't a slick, not to be critical, but I didn't feel like it was a slick, I'm going to break my base to encourage someone to throw to bring him onto something. I feel like it was just in the heat of the moment, I'm going to throw something out there because you're about to throw at me, and he landed. So I don't know where he's at mentally, if he's still able to perform at the level we were seeing before. And the same, I haven't watched Andy Ruiz against Chris Arreola, to be honest, and the last time I saw him box would have been Anthony Joshua in that rematch, and that wasn't very impressive. But it looks like I'm always seeing videos of Andy Ruiz pop up on social media of him training and that. So, of course, again, listen, action-packed. Both guys can punch. Both guys are quick. It'd be interesting to see how that fight plays out.
I'll rephrase that question then. What fight would you rather see? Fury Ruiz or Fury Wilder 4?
Probably Fury Wilder 4.
Really?
The last one was extremely entertaining. There's so much back and forth and clash of personalities. I don't think the build-up would be anything like the same as Fury Wilder as it would be with Ruiz. So yeah, I'll probably just go with Fury, even though I'm not that fussed on seeing that fight. The fight that I want to see is Usyk and Tyson, Joshua and Tyson.
And I echo that as well. But the Eddie Hearn says that there was a possibility of Joshua fighting Wilder. As a coach, as a manager, you've managed fighters, you've coached fighters, you've been through training camps with fighters. Now, put your coach hat and your manager hat on right now. If you were managing Joshua, would you put Joshua in with Wilder right now after 2 back-to-back losses against Usyk, or would you let him gel with his team first, get a couple of wins under his belt, and then go for Wilder? How would you approach that fight?
I think it depends on what the fighter wants to do and where the fighter's at mentally. Like I said, my tune's not all of a sudden going to change. I don't know where Deontay Wilder is at mentally, and if he is hesitant, in front of, Anthony Joshua because of previous experiences, and he's not quite in the same state like before, very explosive when he committed. If he was hesitant in front of Anthony Joshua, there's a good chance that Joshua lands something substantial, and obviously both guys carry the power to land clean and finish the fight in that moment. But with that said, if Deontay Wilder goes in there confident and commits to his attacks, his change of pace is that sharp, is hard for these heavyweights to deal with.
Gun to your head then, Joshua Wilder, who wins?
I genuinely haven't got.
It's a gun to your head, Ben.
I can't say, because I genuinely I feel like we need to see Deontay Wilder more than whatever it was 2 minutes of what we saw against Hellenius to actually have a understanding of where he's at, because I've got no idea where he's at. And nothing against. I just thought he looked very uncomfortable in that Hellenius fight. And maybe that's what he needed. Maybe he needed something like that. And I thought that after the fight, I thought he needed that. He needed that confidence. Maybe that's what he needed to, mentally get himself back in the position he needs to be the Deontay Wilder that we knew before.
After 2 back-to-back losses against Tyson and the whole accusations and stuff thrown at him, and I think...
And a long time out the ring after that as well. And he's getting older as well.
Well... The light heavyweight division is on the scene right now. Callum Smith has been ordered to face the winner of Yarde versus Beterbiev. Does Yarde beat Beterbiev, or is Beterbiev just that too good and too strong?
I hate giving predictions now. I know Anthony Yarde and I like him. Beterbiev is an absolute monster. I wish Anthony Yarde all the best. I'll be backing Anthony Yarde, so hopefully he can come out and be victorious.
And I know you spoke about the split with Josh Taylor and yourself in a previous interview, but the Jack Catterall rematch, it's been going on for a long time now. I know both fighters want it. It's looked like that's going to be into next year now, the rematch. Do you have an inkling when that might be here in February, and what does Josh have to do differently, if anything?
I've heard February the 4th, and in terms of what does Josh need to do differently, I think it's wrong for me to comment what I think, because that would then, there's probably an element of impact that I've had on that. I wouldn't want to give anything away of what Josh's thoughts are, what my thoughts are, and what effect that they might have on his approach to the fight. I think it's probably not the right thing to do for me to have a comment on that. But what I will say is I think 100%, Josh's preparation for that fight was extremely, very far from ideal for a number of different reasons. But at the same time, it's very important that you don't neglect the things that Jack done well and the things that Jack is good at, and brush that to one side without addressing those things. So I'm hearing that's February the 4th, I saw, but listen, like I said before in the interview before, I really get on well with Josh. I haven't got bad word to say, and we still get on, we still speak, and I pride myself on that being the situation whenever I've not worked with fighters or parted ways with fighters, because I always sit here and preach and say things like I don't do it for money, and often my opinion is that a lot of fighters and coaches fall out because it boils down to money and etc. But this isn't that situation, and even when it is that situation, I don't do this for money. So if a fighter feels that way or a coach feels that way, if you genuinely do like each other, that should not change, and I still of course want Josh to go out there and be victorious.
Like I said to you, 2023, it looks like if nothing ever goes swimmingly in boxing, as you well know, Benz, but 2023 looks like, especially that first quarter, first third of the year, looks like we're going to get some good fights if these fights get made and if everything goes to plan, so to speak. But again, one final word on Shabaz, because we're here in Sheffield for Shabaz against Jack Bateson. Well, you're here for Shabaz. One final word on that fight, and why should people tune into Fight TV to witness, if you're a pure boxing fan, a great fight?
Yeah, I think you've got the type of fights that people are always screaming for, prospects to fight each other along the way on their build-up to take these 50-50 fights, and that's what we've got here. So you've got to credit both guys, as we said earlier on in this interview. But I also think that we've got a fighter in Shabaz that has more than the potential to just become the next world champion, from Britain and from the Asian community as well. And we should get behind both of these guys for the reasons that we said about taking the fights along the way. And I think it'll be a great fight as well. So tune in and may the best man win.
There we go. Ben, as always, thank you so much, man, and enjoy those long lies in the morning, mate. Thanks very much, Ben. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.